Hi, I'm Maria and I'm a chocolatier. Right, most Googled questions about chocolate. Where does chocolate come from? Originally, chocolate was believed to have come from South Mexico by the Olmec Indians. They were the first to produce cocoa. But nowadays it comes from the Caribbean, South America, Asia, India. So yeah, that's where all the cocoa beans come from. So is chocolate healthy? I'd like to say all of the chocolate is healthy, but really only dark chocolate is healthy. It contains lots of antioxidants, which is really good for lowering your blood pressure. It's great for brain health as well. So yeah, I'd say dark chocolate in moderation is healthy. Can chocolate expire? Most chocolate in the shops will have a 12-month or 18-month shelf life. I don't know anyone that keeps chocolate for that long, to be honest. But really and truly, you can have chocolate without a filling, so a solid chocolate, probably for a good 2 or 3 years. The colour of it might dullen a little bit, but ultimately it's perfectly fine to eat. So it will expire, but not for much longer than the shelf life it says on the packet. How is chocolate made? Wow, the multi-million pound question. So cocoa beans are picked from the trees. It's a very kind of complex process. The beans are taken from the pods. They're then fermented. The fermentation process can take between 2 days and a week. Once they're fermented, then they're dried. They're normally dried in the sun. They're laid out. It's a beautiful sight. All these cocoa beans laid out in the sun to dry. Then the shells are removed, which is called winnowing. And then this is the process where you get the cocoa nibs. And you can buy cocoa nibs as they are, and that would come from that stage. Cocoa nibs are great, really healthy for you. Again, lots of antioxidants. They're great in porridge and other baking as well. Or the cocoa nibs are then taken and they're ground down to make a chocolate liquor. Doesn't contain any alcohol, but that's what it's called. It's called chocolate liquor. And then it goes through a process of conching, which is where the cocoa nibs are all smoothed out and where you add the cocoa butter and the sugar and milk for milk chocolate. So there's like a whole process, and then that is then solidified, and then that is what we use to then temper and make the chocolate that you see in the shops. The important thing to note is that when the cocoa beans are roasted, depending on how they're roasted and for how long they're roasted, that could alter the flavour of the chocolate. So yeah, it's a complex, interesting process. What is cocoa? So cocoa is the powder that you get from the cocoa beans, and it's what we use in baking. We use cocoa to make hot chocolate, and the higher percentage of cocoa you get, the better it is for you and the richer the flavour of the chocolate will be. What country is the largest producer of cocoa beans? So currently, and last year, it was Ivory Coast. And then in second place, it's Ghana. So those two countries are the biggest producers of cocoa beans. Why do people love chocolate so much? I mean, this is a very open question. Personally, I think that chocolate is one of the very few foods that appeals to all of our senses. And I think that's why we love it so much. There's also a lot of emotion connected with chocolate. A lot of us have memories of chocolate growing up. There's so many different varieties of chocolate. You can fill it with so many things. You can pair it with so much. And I think that's why people love chocolate so much. And also, it's great for sharing and gifting. So it has just so many purposes. What is fair trade chocolate? So fair trade chocolate ensures that farmers that grow the cocoa beans get paid a fairer wage than what some other companies might pay them. They normally, on a fair trade wage, get 2 to 3 times more. if you see the logo, the Fair Trade logo, that means that they are part of an organisation that ensures that the farmers get paid a fair wage. However, if you do some research and you look at the smaller bean to bar manufacturers, they will be buying their beans directly from the farmers, which means they are on a fair trade. All that it means is that they haven't paid for the logo. But if you do your research, you will find a lot of chocolate makers, bean to bar, craft makers that will pay their farmers a fair wage. What is the best flavour of chocolate? This is quite difficult because for me it depends on my mood. And in the past we've only had 3 flavours of chocolate: milk, dark and white. But now we also have ruby and we have blonde as well. So the white chocolate tends to be the sweetest. Dark chocolate, obviously, if it's not a good quality dark, it'd be very bitter. If it's a good quality dark, you'll get the flavours of the region from where it's been grown from. Milk chocolate for me is the best flavour because it has so much depth. There's different caramel notes and vanilla notes in milk chocolate. And again, if you buy a bean to bar milk chocolate, there'll be different depths to the milk chocolate, and it pairs with so many different other inclusions. So for me, milk is the best. White chocolate or milk chocolate or dark chocolate. So I kind of just answered that, but milk chocolate for me out of the 3 would be my go-to. But I'll only really buy dark from a bean to bar manufacturer because they use fewer ingredients. It's normally organic, and you can really taste the flavours of the bean, if that makes sense. So last week I bought a chocolate bar that had been made from beans from India, and I'd never eaten Indian chocolate before. And it literally had 2 ingredients: cocoa and a little bit of raw sugarcane sugar. And you could really taste the mango in the chocolate. And it's incredible that that was because of the region that the cocoa beans came from. So it's a split between milk and dark, but to top it off for me, it would be milk. So those were the most Googled questions for a chocolatier. I've been Maria from Chocolate Moments. If there's any more questions you want to ask about chocolate, please let me know.